Hi everyone, I'm going to react to Assassination Classroom Season 2, Episode 7. And last episode, the kids were parkouring and then they heard this old man who turned out to be a principal. And yeah, and basically that's sort of not punishment, but they wanted to teach them a lesson. So they went to that school, were taking care of the kids. The building was sort of like decomposing. And they renovated this apartment, this building or whatever. And it was like the before and after picture was so different. And then there was this particular kid that was being bullied at school, and my boy was able to help her. And then they had their midterms, I guess, and yeah, it didn't turn out okay for class A. But my boy was like the top two. So I'm like, yay, that was awesome. So that's what happened last episode. And before we get into this one, if you guys have my reaction, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and please consider supporting my Patreon at patreon.com/philomini. And now let's start this episode, and here we go. Okay guys, in case the reaction gets blocked and I had to cut out the reaction itself, you can just look in the pinned comments in the comment section where for the link to the reaction highlight itself, so you can just click on it, watch it, and then you just come back for my review. Oh yeah, they got new gear too from the government. 4 days ago. Oh, so are they gonna have an impromptu birthday celebration for her? Seems like all of them forgot. Reaper time. Oh, the Reaper's gonna be here. Sugar daddies. Hi. Oh, Lovro's dead. You are so oblivious. But any gift from you is gonna be special, okay? Who's that flyer? Oh, he's the one that was there. I remember. Look at the way he's looking at her holding the flower. Oh my god, she was so clueless. So clueless. Of course. Oh, guys. At least let her play for a little bit more. I don't know, something. This is all going so nice. But then they're like Reaper Part 1. So I'm like, this is gonna go the other way so quickly. Oh, and they were celebrating her birthday. And then she's gonna... Because in 3 months... this boy. Octorasi. Yes, you do. Huh. Huh. Ay, she dead. She dead. People, do not tell me that he's the Reaper. What the freak? Is he afraid now? Oh boy, he's here too. Of course. Do you really think it's gonna be that easy? They are gone. They are gone. The heck was that? Mm-hmm. What exactly did they say? Now you know something's wrong, right? Oh my gosh. Are you sure he doesn't have that same thing that you do have? Oh, is she about to... No, it's not gonna work. You sure it's gonna be okay? Okay. The rest is out. Huh? What the heck? She joined up with him? What the frick? Are you freaking kidding me? What the heck is up with this episode, man? I had to sit back and watch over a couple of the scenes of this episode because I was a little bit confused about what was going on, especially when it comes to the Reaper. And there was a scene where they showed, like, he was talking, right? And then they showed his face, like, partially being like a skeleton-ish looking kind of thing. And I'm like, what does that mean? And then when he's approaching, you would just be seeing these dark shadow thing that's walking towards them, and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, at first when I saw the skeleton looking thingy, I'm like, is he some kind of, like, is he not fully human? But then I'm like, this anime has a tendency of using some kind of metaphorish images, like when it comes to their exams, they will be there will be this imagery of them attacking these monsters and defeating these monsters. So I'm like, okay, it probably is something like that when it comes to the Reaper, and the skeletonish looking thing, and the fact that when he's walking toward them, it's like a shadowish kind of thing. I'm like, it probably is the kind of, imagery stuff that they be using throughout this anime to basically, I guess, describe him. I don't know. But like, the way they introduced this Reaper into this last two episodes, because the first time that he showed up, he killed Lovro, right? And then we didn't see anything from him for a couple of episodes. And then last episode, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, last episode is just a filler episode, But he actually showed up in that episode. Well, when they jumped on the principal, when they injured the principal, he was there and called 911. And then this episode, while the kids were talking about, what they should give Irina Sensei, and then you see him in the background and he sort of like perked up, like turned to see the students a little bit, and I'm like, why is that guy? I'm thinking, why is that guy looking at them like that? Because I completely forgot that he was in the previous episode. It wasn't until like they mentioned him, when he asked about the principal if he was okay. Then I'm like, oh, he was in the episode, and then they showed the flashback. So I'm like, okay, and then he basically convinced them to buy Irina flowers, and then they gave the flower to Karasuma. They told Karasuma to give her the flowers, and Karasuma gave her the flowers, and it's like, this is probably the first and the last, because either they are gonna be able to kill the octopus or the world's gonna end before the next birthday, so they're gonna be going their separate ways and all that. And Irina Sensei she basically got reminded that this arrangement that they have her working at the school and all that is just to kill Kuro Sensei, and that it's not anything more than that. So she got upset and left, right? And then she didn't come back. When she left, she was by her car, and then the Reaper showed up behind her. I'm like, they went back to the school that like she hasn't been in school in like 3 days, I believe. And I'm like, did the Reaper killed her? You know, off screen, and that's why she's not showing up. But then when he started walking, when he walked into the school, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is he the Reaper? Because he just casually walked into the classroom and started talking about it's probably because of whatever. I'm like, what the heck? And when all the students realized what just happened, that this guy just casually walked into the classroom talking about their teacher and all that, I'm like, yo. Then he showed them a picture of Irina, all bound and gagged and all that. And then he told them he was going to give them a location that they should show up there, not tell the teachers. And Terasaka just was like, do you think we care enough about her that we, like, they were gonna just attack him like that and capture him? I don't know. But the Reaper's like, no, you do care about her, so you're gonna do what I'm saying. And yeah, and then he just magically left. In my mind, I'm thinking, how the heck did he leave? But then before he left, he basically threw the flowers into the air. I'm like, maybe those flowers have some kind of, I don't know, not ability, but like quality. I don't know, something about those flowers maybe made them, I don't know. It's just some kind of camouflage thing. It could be. It's not that the guy disappeared. Okay, like he just was there and then he was gone. Those flowers were some kind of distractions as to how he escaped and all that. So they decided to go there. And meanwhile, of course, Sensei is up there in Brazil. When he was in Brazil, and then he said 7-1, and then the Brazilians there were getting upset. And I'm like, what the heck? Like I had no time at all to look at what was up there. You know, it was after, like I said, I went back through a few of the scenes, so I went back through that as well. And it was like they were saying that Germany beat Brazil 7-1 in the previous World Cup, FIFA Cup, or whatever. So when they heard 7-1, that's what they were reminded of that, and they started, about to attack him. And then he was dodging them. Meanwhile, trying to call these students that actually know about the sport so that he can know exactly what he did to upset them. And then he also started juggling the ball between them and all that. And during those few minutes, seconds or whatever, the Brazilians that were playing, football, we call them football in our country, in Africa, it's called football. So when they were playing that, they were like, oh my gosh, we found our savior, that he's gonna be able to redeem them from the 7-1 loss. Oh my god. But he was calling them and he wasn't getting any answers from them. So he said something must be wrong. So the students made their way there, and then they got captured. They were able to get out of the cage or whatever that they were hold up in. I don't know. And a group, some of them went to get Irina Sensei, and then the others probably went to confront the Reaper. But then the Reaper started walking toward them. It's like he has this presence, or this non-presence, I should say. It's like they can't really determine, they can't really figure him out. Like he was walking toward them and they thought they had a chance, but he just knocked them out. And when he basically thought that he crushed what's her name, Kayano's ribs, and Nagisa got upset and he's like, guys, I'm gonna take care of this. I'm gonna face him. I'm like, oh my boy, like I applaud your confidence in doing this, but I'm like, it's not gonna work out. And when he tried to do the move that he did on what's that dude's name, Takaoka, I'm like, it's not gonna work out. And then the guy went into this wavelength explanation. I'm like, huh? I didn't get that, even though I saw it, I reread it. I'm like, I didn't get that, but he was able to immobilize Nagisa and all of them. And then he was about to go and take care of the students that went to save Irina Sensei. And then when they got there, and Irina turned on them, I'm like, what the heck? But then as I went through it again, I understood where she was coming from, because right before she got not captured, but she probably was playing along with him, getting tied up and all that. It was just a plan to lure the students there and capture them. She probably knew, because the Reaper said that he wasn't going to hurt them, right? That he wasn't going to kill them. And I'm pretty sure, I'm 100% sure, because I feel like she has come to care about these kids, and she would not take part of the plan that's going to kill them. But that was not the Reaper's goal. The Reaper's goal was to kill Kuro Sensei, and he was going to use the kids as bait to do that. And Irina, being sure that the Reaper was not going to kill them, decided to take part in his plan so that they can kill Kuro Sensei, which has been the goal of this, which has been why she joined up at the school, became a teacher at the school. And after being reminded, after what happened with the flowers and all that, I can see why she decided to join up with the Reaper, And then she was like, she was gonna take care of the kids. She took care of one of them, I believe. And then she was walking toward them and faked having walked on a rock and being hurt or whatever. And the kids caring about them, they just went toward her to try to help her. And she took opportunity of that to take them out. And that's when the Reaper came. And then there was the Itona scene. I'm like, when was it the Reaper that asked him if he was gonna fight or surrender or something or other like that. I'm like, please do not make me. At first I didn't care about Itona, but then during the last few episodes where he actually joined up with the students and all that, and then they did this school festival thing where he was so cool and all that, and I started loving him. I'm like, please do not make me hate him this episode by having him join up with, those two against the students. I'm like, please don't do that. And then he's like, I surrender. I'm like, oh, they did it. But then when he was talking in his mind about, the situation was not advantageous to them. There was no way that they were going to be able to defeat Irina Sensei or the Reaper. So he's like, we're not going to win this time, so better to give up and figure out there's probably going to be sometime later that we're going to have the opportunity to actually win. So in that moment, I'm like, okay, it's not that he's turning against the students. It's more like, you know what, let's just give up for now and figure out another way that we can win, So I'm like, okay, he didn't turn against them. Good. I still love him. So yeah. And then after they captured them, the Reaper saw something on his phone. He's like, Karasuma is here. And then the students were like, if Kuro Sensei told them that if there was a wall that they couldn't, surmount, that it was gonna be his turn or something or other. And then you see Kuro Sensei in a dog costume, like on the floor. It's like this dog costume that is conducive to tracking the sense or something or other. And I'm like, okay, he has a dog costume on, and he was like looking at the ground or whatever. And on the Reaper's phone or whatever device that he had, he saw Karasuma. So I'm like, okay, did he just see Karasuma, or does he know that Kuro Sensei is the one in the dog suit? You know, is his coming gonna be a surprise for the Reaper? I don't know. That's why I was confused a little bit by the end there. Like, does he just think that it's just Karasuma, or does he know that it's Karasuma and Kuro Sensei? So yeah, anything else? Yeah, there was a scene where Karma remembered I don't quite remember who he told it to. I think they were in the maze when Kuro Sensei was trying to make these love connections or whatever. And then he told whoever was with him that he's most afraid of not being afraid. And I feel like the Reaper's presence sort of reminded him of that. Like he saw the gap between the Reaper and them. But I'm not sure if he's still not afraid in that moment, or if he didn't look like he was afraid of the Reaper. So I'm like, maybe he was still not afraid in that moment, and that's why he remembered when he said that to whoever it was that was with him at the moment. I don't know, but I feel like it was worth mentioning. And I wonder if there's ever gonna be a moment in this anime where Karma is actually gonna be afraid of something, you know? Because it didn't look like that in this episode. He just knew that they were outmatched, especially when the Reaper came and was attacking them, you know, taking them out one by one. And even after Nagisa, you know, he knew that they were outmatched, but I just don't think that he was still afraid, you know. I don't know, we'll see. Thank you guys for watching, and if you like this reaction, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, and if you want to see my reaction to the next episode, you can do so by checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/feelmini, and you can also see the full length of this reaction there as well. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.